Today's webinar is part of a broader initiative known as the COSPACE webinar series, which brings together leading Horizon Europe projects to showcase how space-enabled innovations are shaping a greener and more resilient future. So COSPACE is a group formed of 5 Horizon Europe projects: Respondent, MAGDA, SWIFT, 100K Trees, and BuildSpace. And what these projects have in common is that they're all working on cutting-edge geospatial and AI-driven solutions to tackle climate change. It's supported by the Horizon Results Booster Programme, with COSPACE amplifying the impact of these respective projects by promoting knowledge sharing and collaboration. This is actually the first in a 2-part webinar series, with today focusing on the role of space technologies in energy and agriculture specifically, highlighting how Respondent and MAGDA are harnessing satellite-based forecasting, remote sensing, and AI to improve climate resilience. Our second webinar will take place on April 15th and will showcase the 100K Trees and BuildSpace projects, who focus on green cities and sustainable urban development. If you're interested in how space-based decision support tools are shaping future cities, be sure to register for that webinar as well. So why is this webinar important? Well, tackling climate change requires collaboration, innovation, and the smart use of technology. And I feel that's why today's discussion is so important, because both Respondent and MAGDA are at the forefront of integrating Galileo and Copernicus systems using AI-driven forecasting, remote sensing, and geospatial data to support energy security, sustainable agriculture, and climate adaptation. So in terms of what we can expect in today's webinar, we have an exciting lineup of speakers who will dive into topics such as how satellite-based forecasting enhances energy grid stability, the role of GNSS and Copernicus data in precision agriculture, and the broader impact of space-based enabled climate adaptation strategies. While we of course encourage everyone to participate and drop questions in the chat, there will be a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the webinar for people to openly discuss, ask questions, etc. So up next, we have a presentation session from MAGDA, which will be delivered by Eugenio Realini, who is the CEO of Geomatics Research and Development and the MAGDA Project Coordinator. So the floor is yours, Eugenio.
Let me know if you don't see anything. So MAGDA, thank you, stands for Meteorological Assimilation from Galileo and Drones for Agriculture, but aside from the acronym itself, in overall, the target of the project was to integrate GNSS, Sentinel, so GNSS including Galileo, of course, Sentinel, Copernicus, Meteo Drone, and in situ observations for weather warnings and irrigation advisories in agriculture. The MAGDA project started in November 2022 and is set to be completed by the end of April this year. So for the previous project, we are almost at the end. So the main goal, as I said, was to integrate all these different technologies in order to develop a complete tool chain that could be beneficial to end users, so farmers basically, for basically getting information about extreme weather and advisories about crop irrigation and crop monitoring in general. The consortium is composed by these partners. So GRED, we are coordinating it, and we are dealing with the GNSS and Galileo signal processing, and the demonstrator on the here in Italy, and the Cima Research Foundation dealing with the numerical weather modeling, the Meteorological Agency of Romania dealing with the Copernicus Sentinel and the demonstrator in Romania, Future Water dealing with the hydrological model, Mines and Sparks with working on communication, dissemination, and exploitation, CAP 2020 for the in-situ sensors, the dashboard that allows end users to see the data and interact with the results, and the APIs, and helping with the demonstrator in France, and finally Geomatics that provided the meteo drones. So the MAGDA concept is summarized here. The main idea is to explore all, let's say, to the possible extent in which these new innovative technologies can be adopted and used effectively to benefit day-to-day operations for the end users. So these are all technologies that are not commonly used in agriculture, but they have a strong potential, of course, for providing useful insight and data for day-to-day operations. And so we put together all the experts needed for testing all these technologies, and through a continuous interaction with the end users, which were involved in the project since the beginning, build up all that is needed in order to let them exploit effectively such data for agricultural operations. As I mentioned, MAGDA planned to have 3 demonstrators targeting different crop types. So the demonstrator in France, in Burgundy region, was targeting wine grapes. The demonstrator in Italy, in the Piedmont region, targeting fruit plantations. And the demonstrator in Romania, in Braila County, targeting cereal crops. As I mentioned earlier, since the beginning, we interacted with the farmers who actually provided us with their fields to deploy the instruments and the sensors in order to gather their needs and, let's say, drive together with them the developments of MAGDA towards something actionable for them. And this is important because otherwise this would have just resulted in an exercise to demonstrate what is feasible, but then it have risked to have ended up disconnected from the end users. You can see some photos here of part of the equipment deployed in France in the upper row, including the first deployed meteo-base in France, in Italy in the middle row, and in Romania in the bottom row. Now let me go through all these types of sensors to show you what they are and what they are used for. So the in-situ sensors were provided by the French company CAP 2020. They are basically low-cost meteorological stations, weather stations basically. They are 3D printed, they contain cost-effective sensors and equipment, and they come in 2 different configurations. One for in-crop deployment to measure temperature, humidity, and leaf wetness directly within the crops, and let's say full-fledged weather station, including soil moisture, that was typically deployed besides the crops. These are very power efficient, they are completely automated and allow the users to gather information that are already useful by themselves in order to see, for example, the temperature of the air, the leaf wetness, which is a parameter that they can already act upon. Regarding the GNSS, this is a bit less immediate compared to weather stations, but with GNSS and Galileo, what we can do for the sake of agriculture is to retrieve information about the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere, which is one of the key ingredients for precipitation. As we will see in the next presentation by Martina, this is one of the parameters assimilated into numerical weather models in order to improve the forecast of rain. And we exploited the GNSS stations and GNSS signals and Galileo signals also for experimenting with soil moisture retrieval. So basically this exploits the fact that GNSS signal coming from the satellites bounce off the surface of the ground, and depending on how they bounce and how they are received by the GNSS antenna, it's possible to retrieve information about the amount of moisture in the soil. So these were the two parameters provided by GNSS. Regarding method drones, these are quite innovative and new technologies and that basically are set to substitute traditional weather balloons and radiosondes. Basically, they have a drone that automatically, but still controlled by a remote operator, flies up to 6 kilometers of altitude and basically sounds the atmosphere, sensing weather parameters such as pressure, temperature, relative humidity, dew point, wind speed, and direction, and basically provides profiles at every few hours that can be used for by weather models in order to improve weather forecasts. These are completely, so you see the box here that automatically opens up, lets the drone fly, then when the drones come back, it is charged and the box closes up again. And basically this allows to improve the number of atmospheric sounding that can be done compared to traditional weather balloons, which typically are launched just twice a day. And it provides, let's say, a more vertical measurement on the site compared to weather balloons, which drift due to the wind. Regarding Copernicus Sentinel data, these were used in order to derive information about the moisture stress index, MSI, the normalized difference vegetation index, and DVI, and the evapotranspiration. These were and are currently still being produced based on Copernicus Sentinel-2 and Sentinel-3 satellite data. And here you can see the whole algorithm and data processing steps that are used automatically in order to provide the MAGDA models with up-to-date images and information about these parameters. All the sensors that I am showing here are currently providing information continuously from the 3 demo sites that I have shown earlier. Regarding the numerical weather model, I won't spend too much time because Martina is going to provide a presentation just on this, going into details on what we have done in this domain. But just let me say that we have used the WRF model, and we have assimilated data from ground-based weather radars that are already deployed in the respective countries, and from MAGDA's in-situ temperature sensors, GNSS-derived parameters such as the ZTD and the method drone profiles in order to evaluate their impact on the forecast of weather events. The output of the numerical weather model run by CIMA with WRF and the measurement themselves, for example, from the in-situ data from the METIS stations that we have seen earlier, together with the Copernicus NDVI parameter, are used as input for the hydrological model run by partner Future Water. For this model, we have used the SPY model that basically can do all the computation and modeling to provide end users with information about the amount of water suggested to be used for irrigating the crops. This is the, let's say, the most direct information that can be exploited by MAGDA's end users. And finally, the dashboard. You can see an example here. Basically, each user that was involved in MAGDA could access and can access the dashboard online, basically selecting one or more of the measurement demo sites, and either showing, displaying the single measurements and observation, or more usefully for end users, getting information about the weather model forecasts and the hydrological modeling advisories for irrigation. So basically, this is we provided and set up a system that can be accessed by browser, by mobile phones, and that can be also integrated with existing farm management system through APIs. So if the farmer already use a farm management system, they can still, let's say, ingest information produced by the MAGDA systems into the system by APIs. And that's it for MAGDA. Let me know if you have questions, but in the next section for question and answers, as I understand. Thank you.